So as I mentioned, if you're only just jumping on the call or in the last 5 minutes, if you could just make sure you've got that image of the tree handy that I sent via email, because we will refer back to that a fair bit as we go through this. But you got an hour with me, guys. Really excited about this. I run this I ran this workshop, my apologies, back in May with Adelaide Business Hub, and here we are again with some more gold to share with you guys. So let's get started. We've got a fair bit to cover, so we're going to kind of touch on a lot of this today. This is our agenda, but don't worry too much about this. It's more about making sure that as we go through today, if you have any questions for me in relation to anything that you see, just note that down, and then we can, kind of ask those in the last probably 10 or 15 minutes, depending on how things go. So let's get started. Just so you understand who we are. We're a very passionate team, not just only based in Australia, but also in the Middle East. This is just some of our team in the Middle East, actually in Kuwait, where we're based, and as well as in Australia. Head office is Adelaide, but this is a group photo of our team over there when I was there for about 3 months earlier this year. This is where we're sort of located. So down the east coast of Australia, in Adelaide, like I said, is head office for us, as well as being based in the Middle East with operations in Kuwait, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi. So let's start with three things that I like to sort of educate people on. And to be totally honest, most of the stuff that I do or talk about is not very much about selling. It's more about education, because I think quite often as consumers we know what we do every day, but we don't often remember to do those things if you're part of a marketing team or the owner of a business when you get into business. So let's start with a couple of little sort of problems and solutions, I guess, to those problems. So 92% of Australians use Google every single day. Most of us jump in the car, and if we're going somewhere, we put it into Google Maps where we want to go to, regardless whether we know where we're going or not. Most people still use it regardless if they want to see how traffic is, or the best route to where they're heading, or whatever. But a lot of business owners, like I say, they forget to actually update their stuff on Google, and it leaves them with a fairly big hole in their business when you think about the fact that 92% of people are starting their journey there. So we want to make sure that probably one of the biggest things that people take away from today is the fact that they need to make sure that that's optimized, and that they are linking as much as possible from that Google business profile through to their social channels, their websites, etc. So that's kind of one of the first challenges that we often see. I would say 95% of people out there, which is a very, very big number, do not actually update this stuff. So pretty scary from a business perspective. Attention span, another really important thing. Just some hard facts. Since the late 90s, the average human's attention span has decreased from 12 seconds to 8.25 seconds. Pretty scary stuff. With Gen Z, that's now less than 8 seconds. So for your reference, the memory of a goldfish is 9 seconds. So we now have a shorter attention span than a goldfish, which we always used to make fun of, I remember. And if you're trying to snap somebody's attention, whether it's on social media or if it's someone searching and trying to find your website, you basically have less than 2 seconds. So the average, they believe, is about 1.3 seconds now, which is, if you can imagine people just scrolling through their phones, it's not hard to believe, to be totally honest. So, one of the solutions that we're very heavily focused on is that user-generated content, which is extremely important, because, as digital marketing agencies, we can all sit there and promote how good we are at promoting someone else's business. But when someone in business talks about themselves and how they can really add value to other people in relation to their service or product they offer, it comes from a different place, from a place of passion about what that person does, rather than someone trying to promote that for them. And one of the last ones is our aging population. So, reluctance, I do see this a lot. There's a lot of reluctance from business owners to take strategic advice or adopt with change. So the scary part about that, though, is that over 47% are over 50 years of age that are business owners. and there's 22% that are over the age of 60, with only 8% being under 30 that are business owners. When you look at that number and you think, well, it's the younger ones that generally adapt with technology, that's not really the market you want to be promoting to or educating. So, thinking that the vast majority of the population that are business owners are over that 50 years of age and 60, that calculates to what, 69%, basically of business owners. Again, if you're not targeting them or educating them on understanding the importance of this stuff, they're going to be left behind because the consumers are obviously the opposite side of that percentage, right? So that's where we step in. Now, as I mentioned, here's the tree that we're going to kind of run through. For everybody's understanding, we look after everything on this tree. We do all these elements and services are services we provide as part of our business. But what we want to sort of get people to understand by looking at this document is that you can't grow a tree from the leaves. Okay, you really need to understand that foundations are built no different to a house or a tree in that trunk. Getting that root system dug nice and deep and solidifies your position. So those first 5 steps is what I'm going to touch on first, from the bottom up, and then we'll briefly touch on some of the other stuff as well, depending on how we go with time. So how can we help? Well, what we try to educate through that tree is basically that first 5 steps comes under one, and then the second part, which is the Google search and social media management, is your sort of secondary importance, I guess, and probably equivalent value your website, and then any kind of paid advertising that anyone's interested in. I can briefly touch on that, whether that be SEO, Google Ads, or whatever. So let's start with our optimization of your Google profile. So as you can see on this thing, as it's kind of playing through, there's several tabs, and this is when you're obviously looking at it from on a mobile phone, but you can see several tabs that are located within the search once someone's actually found a business. So this is a lawyer here in Adelaide. When people are kind of clicking through, they've got opportunities to click on various different tabs. And all of this is quite important because how Google works in a nutshell is that one organic touch of something. So anything you touch here as we're going through and we press on anything, one touch equates to one organic click. Now, we're not talking about pay-per-click or Google Ads. We're talking about organic ranking here, okay? So this is the stuff that you kind of do. And once you've done it once, you don't have to do it too often. Again, there is certain things you have to do with the algorithm, but it allows you to continue to get organic growth so that you're ranking at the top of your Google profile listings against other competitors in your area. But at the same time, you're not having to pay for sponsored ads, if that makes sense, and burning, money every single time someone clicks on your ad. So these are just various little things that are important. And if you notice just with this particular one here, we want to make sure, like I said, that it's connected so that when you click on something and then it redirects them from the Google business profile through to the website. And more importantly, to the part of the website, like in this particular case with Shane, you want to make sure that you get a little bit of information here, which actually is SEO friendly and has to be so that you can actually rank your Google profile first. But then when you click through, it goes through to the web page that pertains to whatever it is that you've clicked through to. So you're not redirecting them home all the time to the home page of your website, because people again get frustrated. People again, their biggest issue is, again, that attention span. So you don't want to be sort of talking about wills and estates and then redirecting them to the homepage every time, and then they have to sit there and navigate, where they're going to go to next. They have to try and figure it out on their own. So, the more that you're making things simple for them, the better it is for you. Okay, enough about optimization. When it comes to your Google Maps and virtual walkthroughs, this is something that I believe we are one of the only ones, if not the only business in Adelaide that does this, that gives you accreditation and allows you to have that access to view inside your business. Now, why do we do these things? Well, there's 2 reasons that people get these done. Number one, for the aesthetics. It gives people that are interested in coming into your business an opportunity to have a look at the atmosphere and sort of what they're kind of coming into. But more importantly than that, as I just mentioned from your Google optimization, every time you touch something on Google, one touch equates to one click. When you're going through doing a virtual walkthrough, as long as you're using someone like us that's accredited by Google to do these upgrades, every one of those arrows that you see on the screen is what we call a 360. And a 360 is just a sphere. Now, to make those with a camera, you basically have to take 12 photos and stitch them together into one. Okay. So, in actual fact, not only are you getting the visual appeal, the aesthetics of a place, but you're also getting the visibility because just then when I clicked on that arrow, one touch actually now equates to 12 clicks. And then the next one would be 24 and then 36. So your ranking on Google is 12 times faster than what it is without it. So if you're really looking to sort of rocket up those, sort of rankings on your organic growth, this is one of the best things that you could possibly do. So again, make sure you guys are writing down any questions. Happy to answer them a bit later. But yeah, in short, we can take these things anywhere, even when it comes to car dealerships, for example, we've put them inside the car so that people can get a bit of a visual look at what the interior is like, not just being able to showcase street view. So that's the importance of virtual tours, and there's a lot that I can go over. Once we kind of do that as well, we actually normally set up a promo video, which kind of is just something that we can share. Oh, hold on, I might just mute that just a little bit. So yeah, we do a promo video. Hopefully you can hear me, but which is just it's basically just to be able to showcase what we've done with the virtual tour, but allow people to go and do that and go, well, this is pretty cool. Unbeknownst to that consumer of this, they'll actually help that business rank 12 times faster on Google. So that's kind of just what we do. We just kind of just showcase that in a short sort of promo video, I guess you could call it. So when we do our packages, that's inclusive of that. So you're kind of getting a mini business commercial, if that makes sense. So yeah, okay, we'll move on from that and we'll move on to the importance of Google reviews. So I've seen many ways of doing these things. We've got QR codes that we create. We've got these little things here, which is an NFC card that you can tap on your phone, and there's all sorts of stuff that you see probably advertised all the time. It doesn't matter what way you get them. The most important thing is that you get them because it is a really big thing in relation to how Google really does highlight you against your competitors. So here's the three things that I educate people that Google are looking for in relation to your Google reviews. So number one, your averages go up to 5. So 1 to 5 is what people can have. So you need to make sure the minimum, the bare minimum that your average is at is 4.1. The reason 4.1 is a thing is because 4.1 to 4.5 is considered to be good by Google. However, 4.6 to 5 is considered excellent. So obviously, you want to try and keep it over 4.6. But quite often, I get a lot of distress from business owners that complain that, the reviews are fake, they're not real, they're not true, whatever it is. Guys, I don't focus on problems. I'm very solution focused, as you'll probably discover as we go through this. The whole idea is we know that they're going to get them from time to time. People get those reviews. Google don't. It's not a very easy thing to get those things removed when they're on there. We have got them recently removed, a couple for a client earlier this week because it was blatantly obvious that they were fake and they weren't even from the area that particular business was in. But I will tell you right now, openly, that we do not guarantee that they'll get removed. So the best way forward is just to focus on getting the good ones. And that's by producing things like these, QR codes, etc., to get them. So 4.1 is the first thing. That's your bare minimum, but try and keep it over 4.6. Obviously, 5 out of 5 would be great. Now, the next thing is your number of reviews. So every time you hit a block of 50 reviews, so let's say you had 49 and you get to 50, you get what's called a trust point. And that trust point effectively just means that you're ranking better against your competitors in your area on Google. So your first target or KPI, I guess, would be to go out and really get those 50 reviews. And then the next job after that is to get to 100 because it basically happens in blocks of 50. So every block of 50, you'll get another trust point, which just means ranking you better on Google. Okay. So that's a second point. And the third and final point is the the engagement. You need to show Google that you're replying to these reviews. So um, it's whether it's positive or negative, whether they've been sitting there for the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years, you need to go back and reply to them. And let me share a couple of stories about where I've seen things happen, which people are blown away by. So I had a business that was bought out. It was a takeaway business, just a fish and chip shop down the road, and basically they got some really terrible reviews from a previous owner. Then the new owner took over the business, and he reached out to me and said, "Look, this isn't fair. We've got all these terrible reviews, but we're the new owners. What should we do?" And he was trying to encourage me to restart his whole Google profile. But I said to him, "Well, that's not a really good idea because not only will you then wipe out all your reviews, but also the amount of optimization that's actually ranked them there for the last 10 years is going to be gone as well." So I told him to focus on this stuff and go back and reply to all of these customers that had been previous customers of the previous owner, and he thought it was a waste of time. But he actually had, the very week after that he did that, he had a customer come in because his reply to all of the previous ones were, "Hey, we're sorry you had a not so pleasant experience. Please note that we'd love to have you back. We're the new owners of the fish and chip shop, and we'd love to have you come back and try us and give us your opinion on our food now." That one of the customers actually came back, and this was from a reply to a review that had been given maybe 5 years earlier. And they came in, actually genuinely enjoyed the service, the food, that they actually went back and changed the review to a 5. The same thing happens with, I do a lot within the automotive space. So people go, "Well, people have left reviews for me 7 years ago." I'm like, "Well, what's to say that someone from a couple of years ago that you decide to reply to has probably been due to make a service of their vehicle, and then they get it, they go, oh, they get the sort of email back saying that you've replied to their review, and then they go, oh, maybe we should book in and have another service with these guys." And that happened too. So to answer the questions of whether they need to be replied to negative or positive, the answer is yes. And if they're old, absolutely go back and reply to them. It's really important. Now, I also want to touch on one other thing, and that is the way in which you deal with the negative ones. Now, it's quite I take my business very personally, so I get that people get quite frustrated when they're not good reviews, but I need everybody on the call today to understand something. No one is actually interested in what the review is. They're more interested in how you reply to the review. So if someone used Ralph's services and they say, "Oh, Ralph was terrible, never use him again, avoid," and all this stuff, and we're going, "Well, if you don't like it, shove it up your whatever." That's the sort of that's what's going to happen is the person that's reading those reviews isn't so particularly interested in what was written. They're going, "Well, if that's how Ralph is going to speak to me, then I'm not going to reach out to him." Whereas if they just try to take it offline, and it really is all about psychology and educating people that, hey, this person may or may not be right or wrong, but at least the business owner has reached out and tried to repair this and kind of take it offline. And so, unlike Facebook, where you can have this really bad thread of back and forth with reviews, Google works differently. Once they've left a review, you can respond, and that's where it stops. So, my advice is never ask them a question because they can't reply anyway. And all you're trying to do is take it offline. So, if we use the example I just mentioned, Ralph's terrible, blah, blah, blah. It's like, "Look, we're sorry you had a not so pleasant experience with us. We'd love to resolve this matter. Could you reach out to Ralph and speak to him on this number, this email," and leave it at that. People read that and go, "Well, you know what? He may or may not have been right, but at least he's trying to fix it." For all these people know, it could have been one of his staff members that were just having a bad day that day and upset the customer. Okay. So enough about Google reviews, but I guess from the whole thing, I just hope that you guys can understand how important they are in addition to the optimization. Now, when we move forward to that sort of next level, the next step is that social media on the tree. Look, it's important. I won't delve too much into this, but if anyone has any questions about social media, they're welcome to ask at the end. I personally think that you want to have that cohesion, that generated user content. Instagram have recently made multiple changes to the algorithm. So to give you an example, they've resized the way that photos are done twice. So if anyone's able to, and I think within my emails, I had like a link tree that links you to all of our channels basically. But if you follow us on Instagram or you have Instagram, definitely give us a follow because just in one of the most recent posts, we actually shared that even as late as like last week, the sizing has changed again within the way that you promote the photos. And if you use that, it's going to be highlighted more against the ones that are using still the square or then the other smaller size than what the current size is. So very, very important that people are kept up with that. Look, if you have a look or you're already a part of our disrupt.au Instagram page, you'll see that we don't do a lot of selling. It's more around education, more around being able to promote to people what works for major organizations and companies like McDonald's, like Pepsi, and it really gives you some good clues on, how you could potentially look at doing that rather than just being selly online. People just no one ever wants to be sold to, but we're being sold to every second of the day, unfortunately. But it's just the perception of what people do. And what I would say is you want it to be cohesive, you want it to be engaging. I would not at all focus on how many people are liking your post. I explained this to a customer yesterday that I met up with, which is actually Betty, that one on the right there. Betty's got a conveyancing business. And she was like, Ralph, I noticed that I'm only getting like 3 or 4 likes. And, we looked at one particular post and, the engagement on it had reached over 1,400 people. And I'm like, that's what's important. And we even broke it down to, what percentage of followers versus non-followers, because a lot of people think the only people that are going to see this is people that follow their page. And I said to her, with all respect, Betty, you have only about 33% of followers that are engaging with that post. You've got 69, 70% of people that are non-followers. So what you need to do is we need to make sure that we're giving them as much engaging information to go, look, these guys continually give me this education. I need to follow them. So that's probably the key component when it comes to social media, and also understanding that Google has that feature included on their platform as well. So you need to use that. Remember, no one follows your social media pages until they know who you are. No one will go and find your website until they know who you are. Google has a feature that allows you to post whatever you're posting on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever onto Google. That is so important because 92% of people start their journey at that point. Okay. So, people go, oh, but does it link? Can I just share it across? And I'm like, no, unfortunately, you can't because, Facebook and Instagram talk through Meta. Google and YouTube have the same ownership, but the reality of it is that I always tell people it's actually more important to be posting on Google than on your social media platform because that's where you generate new business from. People going florist near me, conveyancing near me, lawyer near me, or best lawyer Adelaide, whatever. Those things is what brings up your Google profile before you don't get people searching that sort of stuff on Instagram, do you? So, it's really important. I can't emphasize that enough. And then when it comes to websites, look, websites are fantastic, but for everybody's knowledge on the call, there's really genuinely only two reasons why you need a website. Number one, to build trust. You want to make sure that when people are finding you, they know that you're legitimate, that you actually do what you say you do, and it's got kind of backing their thoughts and their process in choosing to use you. And then in relation to sorry, I've lost myself there. So yeah, the only other one other than that is capturing data. That's basically what it's for. So it's an understanding back end of what it is or who it is that's watching you. So your demographics can be targeted. So let's say with this particular hairdresser, you tend to think, oh, maybe it's for young people or whatever, and then they look at their analytics and the stuff that has been given to them when they start to promote their stuff, and as a result, they find out, well, actually, no, it's not. It's people in their mid 30s or whatever that are looking at my page. Having that data, knowing it's a female, 35, etc., allows them to retarget then and actually promote more, especially not just on your website, but on your social media platforms, etc. Target the right people that are the right demographic that is actually watching all your content, right? So, it is really important to have a really pretty one to, have information on it. But ultimately, it's only there for two reasons: to build trust and to capture data. Okay. So we have a tool that runs speed tests and other analytics on websites. And so I haven't got examples of them here, but the reality of what that is basically teaches us whether there's a performance issue, which is based on speed, and there's a structural issue. So if it's a structural issue and the website is dated more than 3 years, you probably need to update the website, to be honest. And I'm talking rebuild. I'm not a particular fan of refreshes. It's like, stabbing someone with a knife and then giving them a band-aid and going, here, cover it up. So I don't, not a good analogy, by the way, but anyway, sorry. But the reality of it is, I hope that makes sense. Refreshing, it's great for short term, but websites is something you want to invest in, and you need to understand that, it's something that does need to be sort of rebuilt from a structural point of view every 2 to 3 years, especially with the whole AI stuff happening now. And then when the performance comes to mind, things like having massive images that are high resolution or video content can actually be quite loading on a website. So if you have a website that is taking a long time to load, like I said, we're talking about 1.3 seconds. Like I recently told a hair salon in Adelaide, I said to them, your website is taking up to 12 seconds to fully load. And you think about what I said earlier, the 12 seconds was in the late 90s, the attention span. If someone's waiting like it's dial-up speed for something to load on a computer with regards to your website, you're going to lose them. And you'll get what's called that bounce, where people just kind of get on and then go, oh, too long, or not enough information, or I'm not being pointed to the right place that I was, querying. They'll just disappear and find somebody else. And it's really that simple. So in relation to who we kind of partner with, like these are some of the bigger names around Australia that we've worked with in the past. I don't show this to scare people off, because I want people to understand that, like us, a lot of businesses started off really small, and we've worked with a lot of SME businesses. So if anybody's interested in working with us, we're more than happy to touch base. As far as I'm concerned, these guys are great to deal with, the ones that you're seeing on the screen. But the reality of it is, I get a big kick out of seeing small businesses grow online, and getting super excited about the results that they get from that. And so leading into that, I've actually got three case studies, just to kind of run you through some real numbers. So this is one of probably my biggest clients in Australia. It's a group that owns 4 Toyota dealerships, a Lexus dealership, 2 Mahindra dealers, and like a 4-wheel drive place. So they have an internal marketing team. So when someone is there, we can complement them. We don't feel like, well, we hope that people don't take it as competition, if that makes sense. So the marketing team couldn't keep up with their social media, their website updates, and all their sort of Google profile stuff. So they basically said to us, look, can we just focus on the social media stuff and you do all the algorithm work, and tweak our websites to make sure that it isn't getting like long loading times, etc. And this customer's been with us for nearly 3 years now. So we started with them in November 2022. And then by the time we actually got all the virtual tours live and everything, because obviously there was multiple dealerships, we actually physically started taking numbers from January in 2023. And I recently had a meeting with them. I was actually up in North Queensland in Townsville, visiting my children. So I went and visited them. They're so happy with these results that you're seeing on the screen. And this is organic traffic that's increased in the last 2 years, that they're now actually looking to redo all the virtual tours through their dealerships, because obviously the models have changed, the way they look has changed, and that's turned into basically $25,000 just from that, that doing the right thing. So again, this isn't a good case study for a larger sort of business. But you can see there, like we guarantee 10% increase, and as you can see from those numbers, that's far from 10%. There's a hell of a lot more there that's getting through to them, as in traffic. And even with Lexus, one of the main reasons they only hit 8% is because their website was down, being rebuilt in the last 12 months. So even with that sort of hit, they've still managed to do that. Now, as a result of these numbers, they've actually then gone on to use a software that we developed. Some people have heard about softwares like Hootsuite, like Loomly. we've created our own software which allows you to plug 10 different platforms or channels into it. So that being things like Facebook, Instagram, Google, LinkedIn, the whole lot, right? And what that ability then does is allows them to create, because it's integrated with Canva, to not have to create content, download it, re-upload it, and then sort of have it all sort of set. It's all in the one package. So people create the content. They then they have ChatGPT in this software. They can actually just, if they get struggling with trying to come up with copy, they can ask ChatGPT and then rework that. And then as a result, they can schedule that in for months at a time. And then at the click of a button, it literally goes to all the 10 platforms in one hit. Just like you see with Meta, with Instagram and Facebook, this would do the same thing for all of them, for all 10 channels. And so that's a software that we developed that they're using. They can also, included in that is the ability to reply to all their reviews. So it's like a one-stop shop. They get in there, they can do all the work from there. So they get a Facebook review, they get a Google review, they can reply to them. If they get a DM on Instagram or a message through Messenger, it's all integrated in this one software. So it's just made their life super easy. And so they're super happy with that and they're continuing to utilize us. Now, let's look at a couple of those smaller businesses just to give you an idea. Initially when we started working with Nathan White Lawyers, there was little or no social media or Google presence. As a result of just starting to do organic stuff, and I'm talking literally just static images. There was no videos initially. The increased reach on Facebook was 587%. And you can run through the numbers there. LinkedIn, they recorded an engagement, like increase in engagement by 186%. Google actually gone backwards while their website was down, similar to what had happened with Lexus. And so their actions were down but then when it went back up, so as in once their website was live again, you can see that it went down by about 22% from February and March, and then when it went back up and it was running again, they went and increased again their traffic by 28.1%. So it shows you two things there, that your Google business profile is definitely something that's being looked at, but also how important it is to make sure that it's linked then to your website to drive traffic to that website as well. So Nathan was super happy with the outcome of that we recently ran some reels. So we did some videography and we ran some reels for them. And if you guys want to kind of get an idea of how to do reels, there's some really good examples in there where it's got that hook within what they're saying, so people can actually get sort of attracted to what they're saying immediately and get educated on this sort of middle segment, which is important. So you got your hook and your educational segment, and then we close with what's called a call to action. So really giving them something that you then want them to do after they've heard that video. And I think sometimes people just do videos for the sake of doing videos, but there's no real strategy, let's just say. So there's some ideas on that one. And then the final one, again, the case study with Betty. I love Betty's story. Again, someone that is probably older and wasn't particularly interested in any of this stuff. But I'm like, well, Betty, it doesn't matter whether you are or are not interested. It's what your clients are using to find people like you. And so she trusted us to get going for her. Her profile on Google increased by 220%, and her calls increased by over 600%, to a point where she had to employ someone just to take phone calls. So incredible. And again, shows the power of having that link to your website. Her website clicks went up 175% year on year, from October 24 to the previous year, October 23. We were working through LinkedIn with her, and now she's actually ranked as the top 3 out of 5 for growth in SA, in relation to being found on LinkedIn. So that was a pretty outstanding one. And Instagram, she wasn't really using that a lot, but you can see there, increases of over 1,000% in reach. Interactions up 300%, which again, I don't focus too much on that. I'm not interested in how many people like a post, but those impressions are massive, so 1,000% is really important. Facebook went up 97%, and page views went up 78%. And I think probably the most impressive thing is the engagement there, 96% increasing in engagement, which means the the content that she was providing sorry, the engagement was actually 168%. My apologies, but the content that she's creating is being engaging enough for people to want to read it, which is important. Okay. So as a result, obviously with Betty, we've continued to do her work, but only as recent as yesterday, we actually read. So she's gotten that busy. She used to work her business from home. She now works her business from one of those kind of hubs that you can, sort of have an office in. And we actually retook her virtual tour literally yesterday afternoon to be able to have that updated, because she actually had her virtual tour put on at home, which you can do, by the way, just for your reference. I didn't touch on that during that segment, but quite often people go, well, if I work from home, why would I need to do a virtual tour? Well, again, it's about that click rate, but the whole idea of it is that you can just get people comfortable with where they're coming, but unbeknownst to them, they're ranking you 12 times faster on Google, and that probably contributes a lot to those numbers, to be totally fair. We're nearly wrapped up, guys, and then we'll have some question times. Look, I'm not sure if anyone on this call is in this space. If anyone is, we'd definitely love to help, because these are probably the biggest ones that we do a lot of work with. But like I said, like the local hairdresser, the local butcher, we'll help anybody and everyone. So I would love to get connected. And after this, I'll send you guys an email. If anyone wants to catch up, you're more than welcome to organize a meeting. I send out a Calendly link, and I know I am booked out until the end of August, but if anyone's interested in those $99 programs or the Women in Business program, we run them slightly different to what other consultants do. I know personally, I don't just consult. I actually want to leave something with a customer tangible that they can be left with. So the optimization of your Google profile is something that we run through, and actually physically do, not just advise on it, as part of that $99 program. So a pretty good bargain, considering that normally what we charge for that same service is about $933. So if anyone's interested in any of these two, by all means, feel free to reach out. We'd love to sort of partner with you guys to help you out. We have sort of two ways of doing things in our business. One of them is in relation to a subscription, because if we're doing the ongoing work, obviously we need to charge for it. However, if we have somebody that's in-house that we can educate how to do things, we're more than happy to impart that knowledge and charge a one-off cost. So reach out if you're interested with that. You got this here if anyone wants to scan it, but the reality of it is I did send it in the email so that you can connect with us. And I really just want to say thank you to everyone for, being engaged and participating. I'm actually really stoked, because the last time that we did this, I didn't have a lot of cameras on. So thanks for everyone that actually had their camera on. I really appreciate that. Because sometimes when you don't see people on the screen, you kind of feel like, I don't know, like, is anyone actually there? So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen, and then this is normally chaotic when I get to this point. I'm not quite sure how we best do this, but I've got a couple of questions that have come through, I believe. So let's just start with the chat and then just see where that leads us. So Claudia said, would we be recording the session? I did record the session. So if you're interested, by all means, reach out. But better still, reach out and let's have a coffee. Let's catch up. So I'm not sure where everybody's based, but I'm assuming most people in SA. But I love driving, so I'll drive anywhere. I hate being stuck at home to have a catch up for a coffee. There's nothing wrong with that. Sue, where is that link from, say, LinkedIn to Google that you mentioned? Sue, are you still on the call? I might just get you to just explain that in a little bit more detail for me.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Got you. How are you?
Or you said something about linking from your socials to Google, but I could be wrong. I
No,
might.
that's okay. Yeah, yeah. So was it in relation to that software that I was talking about?
No, it was just right at the beginning when you said that it's really important to link from your socials to Google.
Yes. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, perfect. So when it comes to to Google, you want to understand that the Google Business Profile is that hub. It's the start, and then from
Right.
there, that oh, nice, giving love hearts and everything now. Um, we want to redirect people. So when I say linked, there's no well, there is actually a way to do that. Hold on, let me just bring one up and I'll show you. Bear with me 1 second. I'll just share the screen again, and then I'll stop sharing in a second. So if we're in here and we search Nathan White Lawyers, excuse me, I've got a bit of a dry throat now. You can come down to the very bottom of the profile, and there's your links to all the different profiles that you have on your social channels.
Yeah.
So it also runs down the side if your SEO is being done right. So like that's their website, that's their Facebook, there's their LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. But within your Google business profile, there's an opportunity to have that at the very bottom, so that people can directly link to wherever.
Yeah.
So does that answer your question, sir?
Yeah, so those links are really important, but it doesn't go the other way, does it? Like, you can't link from say LinkedIn to back to Google Business Profile, can you?
Unfortunately not. So that's why that software is what we developed to enable people to be able to have the opportunity to just have it all going to all those locations in one click. So here, actually, I should have just shown you that while I was at it, just to give you guys a quick glimpse of that here. So that's our software, and you can see there's over 200 people using that. But let's say, for example, you got a post, and this one hasn't got all the channels connected, but you can see they're literally with all of these platforms for us at Disrupt, we can create something in there, and it's got that ChatGPT. It's integrated with Canva. Once you've done this and you've created the post, you can go and amend under this. This is under the original draft. You can go through and separate things in each individual platform. And once you're happy with it, you can either schedule it or you can just post it immediately. And it just makes things easier, so that you don't have to worry about trying to copy paste across every single platform you're on. And then of course reviews, like I said, you can be answered as in that particular segment too. So hopefully that answers
Yeah.
you there, Sue. Awesome, awesome. Let's just go through these questions here. And what I did see
I'm
Gail,
fine. Yeah,
Daily.
this is Anx from Tel5. How are you?
G'day, Yangs. How are you? What was your
Yeah,
question?
good, good. Yeah, just a quick one. For the previous one which you answered. You said so you can go ahead and link your social. So this software of yours. So where is the data residing? As in, let's say, uh, I am uploading a few data for a few clients of mine.
Sure.
So do I own this software being proprietary, or is it still there on your servers? Can you please help me
Uh,
understand?
we obviously we have it on ours, but the reality of it is all this software is a integration with for all those. I think I'm going to confuse or lose people now, but it's just an API. So we get Google's API, we integrated it with that, so that then it's reading the same analytics, the same information. So if you want the analytics, it's all included in this as well. But the reality of it is that the data there is something that can be found if you went directly to like Instagram and you're looking at the insights on Instagram, like your dashboard. It's the same thing. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, partially it does. And so you have built this software. Is it a homegrown one? And do you market this or sell it? So how does it go? Or you just
It's
manage it,
it's funny.
like manage the data of your clients?
We initially built it for ourselves for convenience, and then to be totally honest, we haven't yet marketed it as we probably should have. And even this week, I've got a presentation that I'm running live at North Adelaide Golf Club, where I'll be actually touching on this and kind of giving more detail about it, because I feel like we do need to start promoting it more. Again, it's just another example of a software that isn't something that you see every day, and it just makes people's lives more convenient. So I don't know why we haven't, to be honest, but yeah, I mean, look, let me put it to you differently. That group, Mike Carney group, have got all the information, all their different channels are all plugged in there. So I think they have like 38 odd channels to different platforms and stuff within their organization.
Beautiful. Sounds good. Thanks, Ralph.
No problem. Okay, is it Iona? Sorry, I can't read the. Are you able to send us the case studies as I miss them? Yeah, absolutely, I can do that. We'll connect after this and I can send that through. Tracy, do you rate LinkedIn? Absolutely. In relation to LinkedIn, guys, I have never ever used LinkedIn more than I have in Adelaide, in South Australia. it's crazy how much I've used it as a bit for my business. So if you're in South Australia, which I'm assuming 90% of the people on this call will be, I would suggest that you definitely get on there. And so just on that too, a lot of people sit there and say, you know, I had a customer recently that came to me and said, Ralph, look, I've got Facebook and I've got LinkedIn, and I really don't want any more platforms. I'll get one more. So do you want me to get Instagram, or do you believe I should get TikTok? And I went, with all respect, Peter, there's no such thing as or anymore. You have to have this and that and that and that. And the main reason for that, shock horror for everyone that's about to hear this, everyone keeps saying, yeah, because there's certain demographics that follow each platform. Yeah, there is as a majority. But, I'm 47, and I guess the demographic of like the people that are in my age group, I guess, would normally only be interested in just Facebook. I don't even look at Facebook anymore. I'm on generally Instagram and TikTok. So there's an example, and now LinkedIn, now that I'm here. Um, my business partner, who's about 6 years younger than me, he likes YouTube, doesn't like TikTok. So you've got to understand that the more you're on, and having a software like I've shown you that just goes to every platform, it makes your life easier. But at the same time, you're not potentially missing on clients that could be on that platform that may be interested in your service or your product. Okay. So hopefully that answers your question, Tracy. And then with the software, is this generic, or do you create the software based on the business? No, it is generic, but we plug your businesses in there. So it's basically just being able to take away that whole going to LinkedIn and posting something, then have to copy paste it into Instagram and Facebook, then have to copy paste it into Google. It's like it just takes you so much longer. So it's all about time efficiencies, but we don't generally develop it towards people. We can, but you're talking a very, very expensive exercise. Like anything in app development, web app development, anything software, I'll be honest with everybody on the call today, unless you've got about, $80,000, that's kind of where the realm is in that space, just so you understand. Amy, are Google ads worth it? Yes, they're worth it. As long as you've done a couple of things. So first thing is understanding that your organic stuff is a non-negotiable. You need to get the organic optimization stuff done. Why? I can't do this because I haven't got everybody's face up. But for those that have their face up on the screen, how many people see the ads, the sponsored ads at the top? My apologies. And scroll past them and go to the ones. Okay, so here's a live example of at least half the people in the group that have the videos on scrolling past sponsored ads. So I often say to people, is it then worth it? Yes, it is, but you've got to be very targeted, or in a particular business that is really, really high need. So let me give you an example, because I love analogies. It makes people understand it. You own a restaurant, you pop a gas hose in the middle of dinner, and there's literally gas, going everywhere. You need a plumber now. You don't need to go there and go, oh, who's got good reviews? And it ain't going to work like that. Like if they don't know a plumber, they need the person that's going to come up first on Google. So will people click on those sponsored ads? Absolutely. When the other people that click on the ads, unfortunately, are the lazy ones, the ones that couldn't be bothered scrolling or doing a bit of research. So it is important, but use that scenario to put into your business and kind of understand, Amy, that it is and isn't depending on what you do. Like, I guess, yeah, I can't think of another example right now, but is what you do as a product or a service urgent enough that someone would need to kind of click on that? Because as you could see, there was a lot of people that put their hand up to say,
Mm,
I normally scroll past them too. So
yeah.
does
So
that?
it does help. We're in the Flinders. We're a tiny little pub in the middle of absolutely nowhere. There's
Yeah.
15 of us in town. And for having 15 of us in town, 8 of which are our family, we did 900 meals in 5 days at Easter. We've got a 10,500 following on Facebook. But I was wondering, would it be better to follow the Facebook social side of things and Insta, or do the Google reviews? Because we currently sit like 4.7, but
Yep.
was it worth the sponsorship, or are we sitting well enough where we are.
I'd have to have a look at what else is missing from your page.
Yeah.
You may not have it optimized on your page, but again, you know how you just mentioned Facebook or Google again,
Mm,
but there's no or.
put it all together.
You have to have
Yeah.
them. You literally have to have both going at the same time because social media, guys, is really about people that know who you are, continuing to engage them to use or purchase your service or product ongoing. However, in relation to Google, that's generating new leads. You know, if you want new blood coming through that pub and people are driving along and they're like, geez, I'm getting hungry, pub near me, you need to be there. Now,
Yeah.
whether you do that as a paid campaign, probably not initially. You could just get your optimization done and see how it goes, and then give it a go with an ad campaign. But look, ad campaigns should be run minimum 6 months to get the
Yep.
real value out of them. So
Yep.
hopefully that answers your question.
Yep.
Hey,
Lauren,
Ralph, this is Anks. Sorry, guys. Just in addition to this Amy's question, and maybe if I can just play the devil's advocate here. So
yes.
Google Ads, sometimes I've heard from people that, hey, if I'm running a paid campaign, so there's a fixed budget, so a
Mhm.
daily budget and the monthly budget and things like that. And they say, my competition is just, sitting in the morning and then click, 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 and my budget goes boom.
Yeah.
So maybe just in an hour or two during the day, my daily budget is exhausted. So can you
Exactly.
just throw some light as in what's the right practice and how can we get over these stuff?
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. No, great question. And that's true. I'm not sure if everyone understood that, but basically every time someone clicks on an ad, a sponsored ad, you burn part of your budget. And then once you've burnt the entirety of your budget for that day, you literally take a free fall. It's like skydiving. You'll just disappear from the top, right? And so that's why I think it's imperative that you do the organic stuff so well, so that you're still ranking on page one regardless of your ads campaign. And I can tell you too, that when you have an ads campaign going, because of those people that click on it, you could drop in your organic ranking too, just so you're aware. So yeah, look, every industry, every business angst is very different. So you've got to take into account. Like I'll give you an example. We had a doctor dental surgery that wanted to only invest $1,000 a month, and as a result, in the last 3 months, he spent $3,000. We've got a return on his investment of $20,000, just short of it, actually $19,950. That's not bad, okay? But I think he should have like it's very hard work because his spend would exhaust very quickly because keywords in the medical field are quite high. So, it's very dependent on each industry. If anyone's interested in Google Ads, you'll need to talk to us about what your industry is and if the keywords are more expensive than other industries or not. Okay. So hopefully that answers that question for you guys in relation to that. Jordan, how important is it? Oh, sorry. How important do you think it is for quality of videos to be made? Is using a professional better or homemade just as good? Look, Jordan, to be honest, great question. And again, user-generated content is literally people holding the phone doing a selfie and recording a video. That can work. I'm not gonna sit here as a digital marketing agency owner and tell you that you should use us to do professional videos all the time because there is a lot of SME businesses out there that genuinely cannot afford to get professional videographers and photographers in. But hey, if you've got the guts to get up and hold your phone and talk about your business and you're passionate about what you do, people don't need to have that in a high res, video format that you're going to see on a TV commercial, which I don't even watch TV anymore, but just to give you an idea. Juana, again, is this program available with the $99 program? So there's two programs. There's a $99 program, which will be able to do your optimization and also get that Google review code and those NFC cards with these things on them. We create oh God, hopefully you can see that. We create like a digital business card, if that makes sense. So that here, I'll show you what we kind of create. When you look here, you'll see LinkedIn, Linktree, sorry, and then like in our Linktree, we've got all of our social channels so that when we tap on that card, people don't just get access to leave us a review, but they get information to all of our platforms and then the programs that we run as well. So The $99 program, we generally run that as a thing where we can do the optimization and help you get set up and optimized, as well as give you the review code, the QR code, and that NFC card. We've only just recently been given the okay to go ahead with the Women in Business program as a business. And with that time, that we've actually been investing, funnily enough, with the last question, in giving people some videos. We send out a videographer and get some videos of the business. So if any of that stuff is of interest to you, I'd suggest we definitely connect after this and have a catch up, because maybe I'm doing things slightly differently. I don't just consult in the sense of just telling people to do something. I actually physically try to go and help them do it, just so that you're left with something tangible, like I mentioned earlier. Gailey, you can unmute yourself if you want, but I'm reading your thing. Is the 90, no, sorry, the 99, sorry, my apologies. Is the 360 virtual tour part of the $99 program? No. So on your tree, the picture of the tree, guys, the first 4 steps, okay? The first 4 steps is what's inclusive of the $99 program, just so that everybody's aware. The fifth step is the virtual tour. That one there has to be paid for separately. Again, you could, if you're in the Women in Business program, you can then utilize that and pay $220, because the virtual tours start at about $1,000 plus GST, with that video as well, accompanies it. But the reality of it is that it depends on how many of those arrows you need. So that gives you about 10 positions, like 10 of those arrows. So if you've not got a big office space, then it should be fine. But did you have any other questions in relation to that, Gailey?
Yeah, hi, sorry, it's Gail actually. My name's
Oh,
felt a
Gail,
bit weird.
sorry. Sorry,
Sorry, it's all right, it's all right, it's all right. Yeah, no, I was just curious about that, and being a home-based business, you kind of ended up coming back and touched on that because I just thought, yeah, it's only a small space and, not like a big corporate office. So it's
Yeah,
still really worthwhile, obviously, because of the clicks.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Just another really quick question about old reviews. That was interesting because I don't know how I did this, but I actually missed some of my reviews and I kept thinking, well, it's too late now. Like it would be embarrassing to go back. So how would you suggest wording that if we do go back to those old reviews?
Uh, you don't have to apologize or anything. I
Yeah.
think really just being able to just share that. Sorry, it's taken a little while to respond. But thank you so much for leaving us a great review. If there's anything in the future you'd love a hand with, I'm not sure what your service or your product is that you offer, but please feel free to reach out anytime. And I look, be genuine. Admitting
Mm,
that you've just learnt that how important it is to respond to people, that really might leave you vulnerable, but at the same time, it shows that you actually genuinely care about taking this information and working on your profile. So that's what I would suggest. But
mm,
just on that working from home thing, here's the example that I mentioned. So Betty said to me, she didn't even want me to take it on the road, so you can still see the road, but she didn't want to show her letterbox because she didn't want to show her address. And you don't have to have your address on Google, by the way, but her office literally sat in this front corner of the home. So when we did the virtual walkthrough, I even blocked the staircase so no one went up and sort of could see up there. But that's her office there. So it can be
mm,
done. Preferably if your business happens to be at the front of the house in an office, that's great. And then she also got excited about it. She said, "Well, let's just use the dining room as a conference room," and so we kind of took a photo there, and we just blocked this off to the kitchen. So, look, anything can be done. Like I said, I'm solution focused. I'd much rather see you get that sorted, and then
mm,
rank and get some more money so that you can get into an office if that's what you so desire. You know what I mean?
mm.
All right, and just be
Can
mindful
I
of the time.
just
All
really,
right.
really quickly, I'm just really curious. You said that we didn't need to have your address on Google,
Yes, you
but
don't.
like, yeah, because I've been trying to not have my address on there, but um, we can't find a way around it. So I'd be really curious to know about that.
Yeah, look,
Um,
we can look after that as part of that $99 program, but you basically
yeah,
provide
okay.
it, but you have to change some of your settings to in the back end of Google. But yeah, we'd have to have that discussion when offline if you don't mind, Gail, only because we're running out of
Yeah,
time. But
sure.
I don't want to
Thanks.
miss out on anyone else here. Livia, do you recommend posting different types of content on different platforms? Um, Yes, obviously LinkedIn is more for business professionals. I wouldn't suggest that it's a good idea to post the same content as you post there on like what you'd normally post on Instagram or Facebook should be different to what normally goes on LinkedIn. But even us as a business, we often just post all the same content just because most of our stuff is educational. We're not trying to sell anything, if that makes sense. So hopefully that answers the question. Is SEO important on social media platforms? Absolutely, it is. Everyone always thinks about SEO as something that you pay for on your website. SEO can be written into the copy of your social media, like what's written. It can be written into your Google business profile, which is where it all starts off in the beginning. I believe SEO is one of the most important things across anything in that tree that you're looking at. So hopefully that answers your question, Olivia. Um, and thanks for asking those because they're good questions. Moana, when it comes to being on the top, everybody wants to be there. So how do you fight through the crowd without spending a fortune on your industry? So pay the $99. That's not a fortune, and we'll go through it. But the reality of it is that the reality of it is that who gets to the top? So I tell people the bare minimum that you should be posting on your Google business profile is once a week. People go, oh, okay, great. But if you go and tell every other lawyer that, then who's going to be ranked first, second, third, or whatever? I'm like, well, for starters, your ranking's based on a daily, and I'm talking about organic stuff now. It's based on the day. Now, if you if you get 10 clicks in the day, your opposition gets 30. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to work out who's going to rank second and first and second. But it comes down to those reviews, the number of reviews, the average. It comes down to who is posting the most. So if I tell you the minimum's one and you go and post once a week, but then your opposition's posting every day, well, I'm sorry, but that's what you do. They've chosen to do that. So that's if that helps you. There's so many little things that can happen, but you just want to be on page one. They always say if you're trying to hide a dead body, put it on page two of Google. No one will find it there. So really, you just want to get onto page one. I wouldn't worry about being in number one because number one can vary from day to day. Okay.
Just a quick one
Bev,
on that.
sorry, yeah, go right ahead.
Quick one. With regards to content, can you help with that? Because I'm finding I'm struggling to put things up that would potentially interest people. And
Absolutely.
you just have this blank of what else could I put on there? I know education is one thing, but you just kind of get a bit stale as to, you want to freshen it up all the time. So is that something you can help as part of that 99?
Absolutely. And I'll give you an example right now because I used to business coach a lot of people, and this is free information after the call now, but that's okay. As a business, what do you do, Anna?
Chauffeur service.
Chauffeur service. What makes you different to any of the other 10 chauffeur services in Adelaide? I'm asking you that question right now. What is it?
To be completely honest, we're the best out there.
Why?
Because we go above and beyond when it comes to things. We've got all our insurances, accreditations. I'm comfortable putting vulnerable children, females in the car. The guys all have to go through a stringent process to be working with us because I have contractors.
Yeah.
And 5-star rating on Google and the likes are telling me we're doing the right thing. Presentation, when you're at the airport, I want, everyone to look the same. No leaning on pylons, sitting down, proud, presentable. When you're coming, your name is on the name sign, but also when you're doing wine tours with us, I need you to know the region. I don't want the client directing you how to get out to the Barossa. You have to have knowledge. You have to be, what the client needs you to do without being stiff and, stale for everybody. So I need knowledge when it comes to experience and that out there.
So everything you just said is perfect. And everything you just said, I could create at least 10 posts. Think about what you just said and the stuff that you supply as a service as part of your business and what sets you apart from your competitors. There's at least a dozen posts in there.
Okay.
Did that help?
Yeah. It's just, I find that, what do you want to know? Like, that's what I
Well,
get.
the other thing to do is also ask customers what do they want to know? Ask them in your socials. What could help you enjoy the experience with us more than what would appeal to you that would make you use our service, if that makes sense. So hopefully that answers you. But let's catch up because I think we could do some stuff together for sure. Bev missed the first half as I hadn't been sent the link.
Sorry to interrupt, but
That's
like,
same for
you've got to
me.
put yourself out there. You've got to, everything you just said then would be a exact reason why we would pick you. And you're so right. There's at least 10 posts for that. We've got to be able to, I think, just put it all out there. Like, so, you know, I've got 2 ovens that, like, you know, I'm a mobile wood-fired pizza business, and we're sitting on like sort of page 1, but we've had to make a few changes. But, you know, we can convert to gas. We can, you know, we don't need power. We run off of battery. There's all these things that people need to know because they can put us anywhere. You know, if it's a total 5-band day where they're still, it's just little things that they need to know why you're better than other people. And that's
five
a
bands.
great way to promote your business.
Yeah, absolutely. You're so right, Tracy.
And don't be embarrassed about doing it either. If you're the best, you're the best.
Yeah, and if you're that confident too, you should be doing those videos because you know, and then walk people through the actual car or how people are presenting themselves, you know, dressing, whatever it is. It's all important. I didn't quite get Bev's message, but I think she just wants to know.
Sorry, I missed the first part, and I didn't know if you were saying that you can control socials in replying to, you know, the Facebook, the Google ads, the reviews, all of that sort of stuff.
Oh, you're talking about Go Social, the software that we have?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a one-stop platform that has everything attached to it. So you can create your content in the system. You can. I have one customer that
even with Woo, so with Woo, Resdy, all of those sorts of things as well.
You're talking about Woo being your website.
Yeah,
No. This is socials, purely social media.
Only socials.
And Google. Yeah. We are actually looking to have another one in the next development phase where we can have like Wix or WordPress or whatever attached so that, you know, when someone wants to change a photo, it makes it easier for you to do it instead of paying the web developer hundreds of dollars just to change a photo and some copy. You can just do that yourself, but not right now. Okay. I noticed there's some people jumping off, which is really appreciate you guys staying on, and thank you so much for.
Can I just ask something, Ralph? Can I ask a quick question? Did you say we should be posting on our Google business profile
Yes.
once a week? Is that right? Like the little profile? Because I don't think I've ever put a post in there. I've got photos and
There's a feature in there that allows you to do it. We can go through that, but yeah, at the moment, the bare minimum for the algorithm is once a week.
Right.
So yeah, I did see your question there, but there is a feature there. So if you look us up on our Google profile, you'll see all the posts that we do in the post section, which is called by owner if you're looking on your phone. Who else have we got here? Rayleigh. We don't have a website. How detriment this is. Look, I believe your Google business profile is more important, but and is Rayleigh still on the call? And maybe not. I've gone a bit over.
I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Oh, thanks, son. Yep. It's important. And again, we work through with people starting them on a landing page from like $500 basically. So, you know, website and I mean, some of our stuff, if we're doing it properly, is like you're talking about $5,000 or $6,000. But the reality of it is, it can be important once your business starts to grow. Do you need it initially? Not necessarily, but it depends on your business. I really have to have that conversation with you about what you do and how important it is to that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we've got a garlic farm.
Yeah.
And we make like garlic products, like minced garlic and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So that's, just not many people in South Australia are doing that.
So who do you sell that to? Are you selling to like Drake's and IGA, Metcash, or whatever?
No, we sell a little bit into retail. Most of it's just from our roadside stall, and we have a stall at the farmers market.
Yeah, look, if you want to expand from what you're currently doing into those sorts of markets I just mentioned, then they're going to want to see that you're a legitimate above board kind of business, to be totally honest. But
yeah, we sell into Adelaide Fresh. And also Foodland at Freeville, and like we work with those guys.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, look, so if that's kind of your market, then we could start on something fairly sort of cheap just to get you there visible, and then build from there. So let's catch up definitely, and for everybody else the same. You know, I'd really encourage you to go back to that email that I sent. You know, giving you guys the links to the call, but all the other information. Follow us because you can get a lot of obviously, just like today, you got some free education around a lot of things. But continue to follow us to get that sort of golden information as time goes on. And then if you're interested in those programs and you haven't participated in them before, or I think there's a bit of time where you don't have to, like, it can lapse and then you can reapply and do it again. So if you're interested in that, great. And if you're not, we can still do the service anyway. It just means you won't be able to plug into that system. But yeah, I will wrap up. I've got a lot of thank yous, which I really appreciate. And then, sorry, I missed the info, read the link to work with you. Oh, it's in the email. So just go back to the email. You'll find that if you read through it, there's the ones for the $99 program, for our Women in Business program. There's also the link tree. Go and follow all of our socials there. Connect with me wherever I am. It's fine. I don't mind. And then, yeah, obviously, yeah, the information's all there. I've got it there. Yeah.
I can't say I can find that email, to be completely honest with you.
How did you get the link to the call?
Through the Australian Business Hub, and I was another one of those that didn't get the link until 15 minutes into your session, so I'm not quite sure what I missed at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Did you only just sign up for it today?
No, I've sort of been back in the background. I paid that $99 and I'm just waiting to see what the next step is for me.
Could you do me a favor and just drop your email into the chat, and then I'll send you an email with it now. Sorry, I literally normally start this, like, open it up at about 10 minutes before, but I had another 6 people wanting to jump on this call with 15 minutes to go, and I was like, oh my God. I know South Australians take their time booking stuff in, but I was like, oh, this is like full on 15 minutes before. But yeah, no problem. I can forward it to you. Is anyone else that didn't have that email? Because if there's not, drop your email in there, and more than happy to send it to you now. But other than that, I'm gonna leave you guys to it. It's 12:12. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys on this morning, and I hope you got some golden information away from that.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Good on you. All the best now. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Sonia, I'll get Sonia in there too. Amazing. Thanks. I'll send you that email now, Lena.
Thank you so much. Are you the person that runs that 99 session?
No, it's Adelaide Business Hub, but there's many different consultants. So
Okay.
if what you've heard today is something that you want to work on, then you can nominate me. But when I say nominate me, the link that I'm going to send you in a minute,
Yep.
it actually goes directly to me anyway. But if you've already applied for it, you
Yep.
need to just call them and say, listen, I just finished the Zoom call, the webinar with Ralph, and
Yep.
I want him to do the program. So you
right.
need to just call them and let them know, as long as they haven't already allocated you a consultant. But just ask
Sure.
the question, okay?
And you said this session was recorded?
It is recorded. I'll have to see how I go. It's probably going to be a big one. I might have to put it up on either my YouTube channel or just in the Google Drive, and I can share a link. But
All right, yeah, because I didn't get the link for whatever reason, and it took me 15 minutes to get through everything to get
yeah,
you.
and to be
Okay.
honest, the first 15 minutes is probably the golden information.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'll definitely get it to you. No problem.
I appreciate that.
No worries.
Thanks for your time and information.
What do you do? What's your business? Oh, the cars.
Myself, yeah, chauffeur service
Where are you based?
in Adelaide.
Yeah, but as in specifically in the city?
In Para Hills.
Para Hills,
So
okay,
again,
cool. I mean,
same
I'm in
thing, work
Woodridge,
from home, and I send the work out, and then the chauffeurs do the work for me.
Yeah, well, we can even do a virtual walkthrough and go inside the limos just to give them an idea of what's inside them too. So let's definitely connect and catch up. I've actually got a couple of meetings next week in Para, but I don't care. I'll come out whenever. But I'm booked out, as you'll see from my calendar. I'm booked out until like the end of this month. But we can work that out, no problem at all.
All right, no problems. Lovely. Thank you so
Have a
much.
great one.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye.
Bye.